Welcome to this video, where we're going to unpack the glaring paradox of this digital age and expose what the source material actually calls the feedback loop.
Now, I want to ask you a question, and I want you to really think about it. If we are so incredibly connected, why does the modern world feel so completely empty? It's a massive cognitive dissonance. We have all the tools for connection, yet right beneath the surface of this glittering digital oasis, the research points to a silent epidemic sweeping across the United States, a wave of profound, systemic loneliness.
We're basically living in a divided reality. On one side, we've got our digital oasis, the shiny curated feeds, the endless notifications, those virtual networks. But on the other side, systemic loneliness. And look, it's not just you feeling a little off on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. The data actually points to a structural reality of modern life. It is a systemic epidemic. And here's the secret from the analysis that totally flips how you view this whole thing.
It is absolutely not an accident. I need to be totally clear about what the analysis of this source material actually shows. Your physical isolation, it's been systematically and intentionally engineered. We're looking at an environment designed from the ground up by a multi-trillion-dollar tech cartel. It is a highly deliberate framework.
According to the research, this is actually a feature. Yeah, it's not a bug. It's not some unfortunate side effect of tech progress that engineers are suddenly scrambling to patch. No, this isolation is baked right into the systems we use every single day. It's literally the foundation of the architecture shaping our modern social dynamics.
It's a feature of the software itself, and the analysis suggests the ultimate goal here is simple, and honestly pretty ruthless. Dismantle organic human communities. They want to tear down your real-world relationships so they can force you into a state of total digital dependence. Because think about it, if they become your only window to the outside world, they own your attention completely.
So the crucial point is understanding exactly how they pulled this off. Let's move to part one, enclosing the third place. To really grasp this enclosure, we need to set up the historical baseline of American social life, just to see what was taken from us before the tech monopolies stepped in.
We really need to look at this concept of the third place. It's a term sociologists use to describe physical spaces, your local cafes, community halls, churches, neighborhood parks. These were the actual physical locations that historically anchored organic social life. Now, the tech monopolies didn't physically demolish these spaces with bulldozers, right? Instead, the authors argue they did something far more insidious. They just built a massive digital wall around them.
They basically convinced you that stepping outside your front door was a friction that needed to be optimized away. The rollout of this isolation matrix was slow but extremely deliberate. Think about it. Hyper-convenient delivery networks, so you literally never have to go to a store. Remote work architectures, so you never share a physical office. Endless scrolling feeds, so you never have to seek out real-world entertainment. Slowly, the system just eroded the basic necessity of ever leaving the house.
Let's break down the step-by-step logic here, because it is incredibly methodical. Step 1. Every real-world interaction you replace with a screen naturally removes you from the organic fabric of society. Step 2. You become isolated as an individual. Step 3, the algorithm actively tracks this decline. And get this, it's not tracking you to flag for help or to reconnect you. It tracks you to establish your baseline of isolation, essentially readying your mind for maximum digital consumption.
Which leads us directly to the money. Let's look at part 2, monetizing human loneliness. We have to ask a massive, kind of counterintuitive question. Why is a lonely population actually the highest-yielding demographic block for modern capital?
Consider this core concept straight from the research. An emotionally fulfilled individual is a terrible consumer. Just let that sink in for a second. A person who has a rich, vibrant, real-world social life, deep relationships, community support, they have very little need for digital supplements. But a lonely individual is an absolute gold mine. And that brings us to exactly how the virtual companionship market functions, substituting organic connection with synthetic attachment metrics. When you're isolated, your brain desperately seeks chemical feedback loops to replace that lost human connection. The platforms capitalize heavily on this biological desperation. They launch AI friendship apps to replace unpredictable human love. They use hyper-personalized content feeds to replace real-world community. It just totally exploits your brain's most basic needs.
So let's hit the hard truth about the cognitive cartel's underlying business model, as outlined by our sources. The system doesn't want to cure your loneliness. No way. Actually curing you of this isolation would mean losing a highly profitable, highly dependent user. It just wants to manage it. By constantly serving you custom-tailored digital interactions, the cartel ensures you stay trapped in a perpetual state of hunger. They feed your attention into a screen that monetizes your isolation, hour after hour, day after day. The architecture keeps you just fed enough to survive the quiet moments, but just hungry enough to keep swiping.
Now, let's zoom out for a second. What happens when this engineered isolation hits millions of people at the exact same time? Welcome to Part 3, the atomized society. We have to examine the terrifying macroeconomic consequences of this isolation economy on the entire nation. The result is the complete vaporization of collective public power, replaced entirely by atomized individuals. Look, when a nation is reduced to millions of isolated people sitting in dark rooms, just staring at personalized screens, the capacity for shared resistance completely vanishes. A society of isolated individuals is entirely incapable of forming a unified front against institutional consolidation. Why? Because everyone is too busy seeking synthetic comfort from the exact same networks that isolated them in the first place.
This represents the total enclosure of the human soul. It's the cartel's ultimate victory. First, they weaponized our most fundamental evolutionary desire to belong. Second, they replaced organic, unpredictable human solidarity with a highly predictable, subscription-based simulation. And the end result? They turned individual, vibrant humans into completely dependent asset blocks on a corporate balance sheet. We look at our infinite feeds. We look at our glowing virtual friends and our automated social platforms, and we tell ourselves we're never truly alone. We desperately want to believe the network is keeping us safe, but the simulation is running.
Because the connection is artificial. I challenge you right now. Look past the interface for just 1 second. Acknowledge the silence in your room. Recognize the active data logs that are currently monitoring your emotional vulnerability. You aren't participating in a global community. You're living in a highly optimized isolation chamber.
And the ledger? Well, it's open, and it has balanced the books. You are the asset. So knowing exactly how this machinery works and how the research views your role in it, how are you going to choose to fundamentally change your relationship with the screen today?